I got Norovirus, which, yeah, those of you that have had it, if you heard everybody in here, you heard a very low bass groan, like a, because if you have had Norovirus, you know it. It is the worst illness. If you don't know what it is, it's that virulent stomach illness that lasts only like 20 hours, but it docks cruise ships, right? I didn't think you could get this shit unless you came into contact with a limbo stick that hadn't been properly sanitized. But you can get this shit on dry land, and oh my God, was it bad. I mean, that's the most sick I've ever been. I learned shit from Norovirus. Seriously. For instance, man has pondered for generations whether it is possible for one's own soul to exit out one's own asshole. And I'm here to tell you all, I know the answer now. And the answer is no. It can't. But it can poke its head out. And my soul got a gander around because it almost came out of me. Holy God, not a very, very technologically, very primitive illness, that one. A king killer, the kind of illness that halted the exploration of continents. It was bad. Like, I like to imagine if Norovirus is a person, he's just a real straight shooter. You know what I mean? If Norovirus was a guy, he's like, COVID? That's a designer illness. I mean, really, think about it. What does COVID do? You know what I mean? Long COVID, you have all these crazy symptoms, you know? You got loss of sense of smell or taste. You've got brain fog, neuropathy, the shakes, right? Fever. Every illness is different for every person. It tailors it to you. That is a nice illness. COVID is the J.D. Power and Associates Illness of the Year handout. That is a nice illness. But not me. Norovirus, not me. I'm a meat and potatoes type of guy. Just give me a lot of liquid out the face and butt. That's what I like. Because I fucking died. 18 hours, oh my God. Have you ever been so sick like that? That you're just sitting there, and at some point you're just like, there's nothing left. At one point, I had been shitting and barfing for so long, so aggressively, that at one point I heard my own voice. I don't remember saying it. I heard it reverberate off our bathroom tile. I just heard my voice shrill and go, "Oh, now you're just showing off." My body was out doing donuts on the 50-yard line, and it's El Camino. Check it out, bro. Oh, there's more down here. Whenever human beings get too high on themselves, Norovirus is there to remind you of what you are. We believe ourselves to be too much. We're always like, oh, human beings, the most evolved species on the planet. Whenever I hear somebody say that, I want to be like, oh, really? And then hold up a Polaroid. Just a profile of them. Naked. Their ass sealed to a porcelain hole in a house. Legs up on a squatty potty. They look like a gargoyle outside a Bed Bath & Beyond. Right? Hair scraggly. In their hands, a giant steel pot. Usually reserved for slow simmering family stews. But not today. It's for the front half of you to leak in like a yoga studio ceiling. I want to hold up a photo of that person. Oh, we're the most evolved species, are we? I'm one of God's miraculous creations. We are primitive. Just watch somebody have diarrhea to tell you how primitive we are. Speaking of shitting your pants, did you know, like, right before a human being dies, it shits itself? I mean, it lets go of everything. It shits and pits itself. Because we have a lot of pride muscles. You know what I mean? Like, just muscles that are vanity muscles, that are concerned with how you appear to other people. And when you die, your body's like, fuck it, I don't have to do this anymore. Like, my job's done here, he's dead, right? I didn't realize that culture does that as well. Cultures shit their pants when they're about to die. And I have witnessed one of these proverbial pants shittings of Western culture in the form of a new television show on Netflix that is just titled, Is It Cake? That's the name of a fucking television show right now. Is it cake? That's how fucking dumb we've become as a culture. We used to have puzzle shows, $100,000 Pyramid, Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune. And then we started to backslide a bit, you know? And I thought we had hit the bottom when we got to Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader? But little did I know the Marianas Trench of intellectualism was right there. And now we're just like, is that cake or is it not cake? You know, I gotta be honest, man, I'm gonna say that's cake. Wrong, get the fuck out of here. Ma'am, cake or not, I think it's cake too. He just said that, fall off a cliff. You, dude from Massachusetts, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that's fucking cake at all. You're right, fuck yes, thank God. Here's $25,000, fix your face. Like, so fucking stupid. Most of the world is starving around us, and we're sculpting things out of food. How many different show ideas do you think Netflix went to until they arrived at that? Where they're like, cookies or concrete? Let's do it. A contestant is guessing whether or not that's a snickerdoodle or actually a chunk of I-70 that rolled into the medium. Let's see if it is. Or perhaps my favorite idea would be just a game show called It's Asbestos! This sounds so fun to me. It's asbestos. It's so good. Like when the contestant gets the answer wrong, all the audience goes, that's not cake, it's asbestos! All right, thanks for being here tonight. Now, thanks for joining us on It's Asbestos. Kyle here from Branson Hills. Kyle is playing the game show. If you're not familiar with how it works, our contestants have to guess whether or not that is a cake made of the finest ingredients on the planet or 2.5 pounds of pure, unabated asbestos. Now, let's check in with him. Kyle right now is willing to bet that that is a Tres Leches cake and not 26 ounces of questionable insulation from an inner city high school. Now, Kyle, I want you to take a bite of that for me now. Here he goes. Oh, no! Bees in the mouth. I'm sorry, buddy. That's not cake. It's asbestos! Oh. Mesothelioma, oh my God, are we having a blast. Call the strong arm, too much fun tonight. It's asbestos. Come on, you'd watch that fucking game show. I also got into watching this show Alone. Has anybody... You like that show? Fuck yeah. Yeah, if you don't know what Alone is, this show's fucking awesome. It's also on... I love Alone. It's the best show. It's so fucking good. If you don't know, Alone is a show where they take like 10 survivalists and they drop them in the middle of a hopeless area. It could be the Canadian Arctic. It could be a swamp in Arkansas. It could be Newark. And they leave them there. And then they have to like survive as long as they can, building their own huts and hunting their own food and everything. It's amazing. It's basically the Great British Baking Show, but for people with outstanding warrants. Like it's for criminals, like hideaways and whatnot. It's awesome. My favorite part about this show is that they go in the intro, they go, alone, our contestants must live as primitive man did. And they're right. Ooh, boy, they nailed it. Yeah, it's exactly like Primitive Man. If Primitive Man were given a small porn productions allotment of camera equipment to drag through the woods with them, 10 survival items of their choosing to start with, and a satellite phone with a panic button that summons a boat filled with antibiotics and rescue workers that whisks them away to a Denny's at the first sign of trouble. But aside from that, it is the Paleolithic period out there. Just those minute little details. I love these shows. I've watched every season of Naked and Afraid. I've watched I love shows like Project Alaska and stuff like that. But I realized it's because I'm a nature cuck. Legitimately a nature cuck. Because there is nothing I love more than to sit in the corner of a room and watch as Mother Nature fucks my fellow man right in front of me. I love to watch it. I just sit there and I'm like, yeah, fuck him real good, Mother Nature. Yeah, he's got a cut on his finger he got this morning chopping wood. Yeah, I bet that's gonna get infected, isn't it? Oh, and I bet he's got a fever right now, doesn't he? Now drop a blizzard on his ass, Mommy. I love this shit. It makes me so happy. Just so good. I love all of this stuff. I just think it is so funny that people believe that it is this childlike level of delusion to believe that we can go back to primitive living. There are 7 billion of us on the planet, 330 million Americans. We cannot agree on everything or anything at all. And you think we can go back to the most primitive and difficult way of living? You're crazy. I love when people say they're paleo, because it's code. Whenever a buddy is like, yo, I went paleo, I'm like, oh, I know what you mean. You mean you don't want to eat tomatoes or listen to women. That's what you mean. That's all you mean. Paleo people are all they mean is they're just like, yeah, bro, I'm paleo now. Yeah, I'm paleo, I do it. That's the craziest. The Paleolithic period was 2 million years long. It extended over such a long and vast time span and area. There were so many different, and the best part is, paleo people take it as, I get to eat meat 3 meals a day. That's basically what it means. Do you know now that they think that hunting for big game was a mating ritual because it was so fruitless? That was such a difficult thing to do. Big game was very difficult to come by. Most people just foraged for everything. That's why just once I want to hear somebody go, we went paleo, whole family. And they actually went Paleolithic. They're like, yeah, whole family went paleo. Great, so you're having bison with every meal now? No. Most of my protein is coming from spiders that I dig out of the corner of the shed. And I'm getting a fair amount of my greens that grow up as dandelions around the walkway. I'm not gonna lie to you, I've had a urinary tract infection for the last 3 straight months. And 7 of our first 10 kids died in childbirth. It's not easy, I'll tell you that. It's not easy, it's a sacrifice. That's why I'm 3 feet 7 inches tall. Fucking dumbasses. We're this tall because of corn. Corn did this. And not the band. That would be sweet. God, if the band Korn was responsible for our development. You know, or whatever. My buddy is always trying to get me to take primitive survival classes. He's like, dude, you want to come and take some outdoor survival classes? No. What, you don't want to? No. Well, all right, bro, I thought you said you wanted simpler living. Yeah, I meant I want to read more and I don't want to wash my face at night, okay? But I don't want to fight raccoons for my food. Are you fucking crazy? Look at me, I'm an indoor girl. This is what it looks like. I'm American. Without my Pontiac G6 and my condominium, I am just an unpeeled banana, just loudly stomping through the woods at a profoundly trackable rate. Like, you'd be amazed at how quickly an animal could eat me. They're gonna eat me first. I'm already in the posture of a corn dog. Look at me. I'm an upright walking stick of meat. I'm definitely gonna get fucking eaten. That's why I love shows. Don't put Americans on survival shows. We're the Fabergé eggs of this fucking planet. We are the most delicate, needy group of people on this planet. That's why I love this show, because I love seeing the hubris of Americans when they get on this show. They're always like, I'm gonna make this landscape my bitch. I ain't afraid of no bears or no wolves. See, we've all seen too many movies about the outdoors. We've seen The Revenant or The Grey or whatever. We've seen movies. We think you're gonna get eaten by mountain lions. It's not. In the wild, it's the little shit that kills you. And that's what I realized from the show. Like, I watched an episode of Alone one night where a field mouse took a man for everything it was fucking worth. And it was the greatest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life. It was so good. This big gruff guy from Montana's in his shed, and he wakes up in the morning and he opens up his food store and he's like, oh shit, oh my God, all my blueberries I harvested are gone. What the fuck? And he looks out the door and there's this fat little field mouse sitting there, covered in blueberries and shit, just scowling at him. And he's like, what the fuck? And he runs and it takes off. And so the next day, this guy gets up and he goes back to his food and he's like, fuck! It ate half of my chanterelles! Oh my God, what the... And he looks out and there's that mouse again. Cheeks stuffed full of mushrooms, just scowling at him. And so he's like, I gotta do something about this. This thing is gonna... I'm gonna starve. So the guy makes a trap and he hangs a little bit of his meat in the trap and he goes to bed. And in the morning, he checks the trap. And the trap is still set, and the meat is still hanging there. But in the hardest rodent flex of all time, he noticed that the mouse just chewed all of the fat off of the meat and did not trip the trap. And this man went full PTA mom. It was amazing. His voice got shrill, and he was like, no! This isn't the order of things. You're a mouse, you stay outside, and if you come inside, I humanely trap you and I put you outside, thus allowing karma to shine down on me. That's the way it works. And this mouse was sitting out there like, I ain't your typical bitch city mouse, am I? I came out here to do two things. That's fuck and chew the fat off stuff. And my wife didn't want to fuck this morning. So it looks like you're up to bat, you pink disappointment. And that guy just leaned on a log and was like, oh my God. He started crying. He started crying. It was so good. The mouse actually looked like it felt bad for him. Like the mouse was like, oh, come on, man. I didn't do you that bad. Last guy they dropped off out here, I ate his entire King James Bible in front of him. It took me 2 fucking weeks to get through. I didn't even like the taste. I just loved to listen to him scream at the moon every night. I love this show because you can tell when they're gonna tap out every fucking time. Because there's one word. If you watch Alone, there's one word that tells you they're gonna tap out. You'll hear it. They'll be down, they'll be sitting there on a log, 40 pounds lighter, just like shaking, and they're like, I can't do it anymore. And then you'll hear, I just want a donut. And that's it. That's the out. The minute the human brain goes to donut, you're fucked. That's it. Give up. Because a donut, the thought of a donut is universal acid. It'll chew through your will and drive. You just want a donut so bad. That's why we can't go back. Because there's no going back from donuts. There's only forward from donuts. And even if you don't like a donut, which I don't want to know you if you don't, you love what a donut stands for. Hot, ready-made trash at our beck and call. None of us can go back to primitive life because we've all had pizza. You've all had broccoli at any time of year that snaps fresh from the stalk. You've all had a kombucha. You can't go back from that. So the best thing you can do is be kind to each other, grab some neck feathers on this albatross, and ride this shitbird down until it dies from all the plastic it accidentally ingested. Yeah. Because if you haven't got hip to it yet, we're all gonna fucking die out here. Let's have fun while we're at it. Fuck it. That show doesn't scare me because it's not a reality I'll ever face. People are like, doesn't Alone terrify? It terrifies me. No, it doesn't scare me. If you ever want to make a show that terrifies me, don't make a show called Alone. Make a show called Lonely. Now that's terrifying. Make a show called Lonely. Listen to how terrifying that word is. You're lonely. Holy shit, you're all so fucking lonely right now. Could you imagine if I invited you over to watch Alone and I explained the premise? Yeah, it's about survivalists. They go out, try to live. You guys want to come over, have a beer, and watch it? You'd be like, fuck yeah. But if I was like, hey, you want to come over and watch this show called Lonely? Fuck is that about? It's just about 10 to 12 random Americans trying to go throughout their workday having an actual human connection with someone else. What the fuck would I ever want to watch that for? God, no. I'll just look in a mirror for 45 minutes straight. You're also, like, that's the craziest shit. I love the idea of lonely versus alone. I've always imagined that alone versus lonely is the universe battling the human body. You know what I mean? Like biology. Like the universe in physics was like, we've created alone. The most terrifying idea there is. Basically, you take one organism or object, isolate it from any other like organism or object by a large, large swath of area, and you leave it isolated. And that object starts to question what it is and starts to self-destruct, and it starts to lose sight of where it belongs in the greater thing. It's very terrifying, very powerful. Alone is very powerful. And then the human body sauntered in drunk and was like, cool story, hold my beer. I can make a human being feel like that in a crowded fucking room. I can make you all feel like that wherever. Look at how lonely this guy is. Look at, that's what life is. Look at how lonely that guy is. And his face is inches from the comic's dick. And he still feels so alone. How is that possible? Oh, God. But you're not alone. You're not alone. Look at me. Look at me. Dress different and this wouldn't happen, okay? I love the way alone and lonely change. People think they're synonymous. They're not. I love the way they change a sentence. Like if I were to say, I am alone up here on stage, that's factual. I am the only comic on this stage right now. But if I say I'm lonely up here, all of a sudden that's a lot more fucking sad, isn't it? A little bit of a cry for help. You all laugh a little harder because I may walk straight into traffic after this show. I think we're alone now. There doesn't seem to be anyone around. I think we're alone now. The beating of our hearts is the only... Come on! That's the classic 80s Tiffany remake of that classic song about two lovers who finally found some privacy to explore each other's bodies. That's a hit song. I think we're both lonely now. There doesn't seem to be anyone. Well, that's the story of a couple who goes home, draws the blinds, opens the oven, and blows out the pilot light together. That's the soundtrack to a murder-suicide pact. Home Alone! Home Alone! The story of Macaulay Culkin as a precocious 9-year-old child left alone by his well-meaning parents to fight off would-be thieves. That's a fucking Christmas movie! But Home Lonely... Well, that's just Macaulay Culkin now. Poor Macaulay Culkin.